300 elite American operators. One enemy military headquarters defended by 2,000 troops, with integrated air defense and quick reaction forces positioned for rapid reinforcement. 6 hours from insertion to extraction through most heavily defended facility ever targeted by American Special Operations. Delta Force, Army Rangers, and Navy SEALs operating as single integrated strike force against objective military doctrine, said, required conventional ground assault with thousands of troops and sustained air campaign. What those 300 operators accomplished in one night didn't just exceed mission parameters. It eliminated enemy command capability so comprehensively that strategic analysts still debate whether single special operations raid can achieve effects conventional warfare doctrine says require division-level operations over weeks. But the reason why 300 operators succeeded against headquarters defended by 2,000 troops has nothing to do with superior tactics or better equipment. It was one intelligence penetration that provided access nobody knew existed, creating infiltration route that bypassed every defensive layer enemy had established. And understanding how that penetration was achieved requires waiting for revelation that changes everything about special operations targeting and the role human intelligence plays when technical collection cannot provide access required for mission success. Just weeks ago, Strategic Command identified enemy military headquarters as high-value target, whose destruction would degrade enemy operational capability across entire theater. Facility was located deep inside enemy territory, defended by layered security, including perimeter guards, quick reaction forces, integrated air defense, and reinforcement capability from nearby military bases. Conventional targeting would require sustained air campaign or ground assault accepting significant casualties and extended timeline. Strategic Command authorized special operations raid attempting to achieve same effects through single-night operation. Mission planning faced fundamental problem. How could 300 operators penetrate defenses designed to stop conventional assault and destroy headquarters before enemy response could prevent mission success? Standard special operations approach uses stealth insertion, rapid assault, and quick extraction before defenders can organize effective response. But this facility's defenses were specifically designed to detect and repel such operations through comprehensive security and rapid reaction capability. Welcome to The Navy Chronicle, where naval and special warfare history meets operational analysis. Planning phase. Joint Special Operations Command assembled strike force, combining capabilities from multiple elite units. Delta Force would provide assault capability and hostage rescue expertise. Rangers would provide security and heavy weapons support. SEALs would provide maritime insertion capability and demolitions expertise. That multi-unit approach created force with diverse capabilities, but also coordination challenges because each unit had different training, procedures, and command cultures. Mission planning required developing common operational picture and unified command structure, enabling 300 operators from different units to function as single coherent force rather than separate elements conducting parallel operations. 2 months of intensive planning and rehearsal created integrated force, capable of complex operations, but success still required solving fundamental problem of how to penetrate enemy defenses without triggering response that would make mission impossible. Intelligence preparation. Technical collection, including satellites and signals intelligence, provided comprehensive information about facility layout, defensive positions, and garrison strength. But technical intelligence couldn't provide what mission planning most needed: access route that would allow penetration without detection, triggering immediate response. Facility was designed with redundant defensive layers, ensuring any penetration would be detected and engaged rapidly. Mission planners studied every technical intelligence product. Analysis revealed disturbing conclusion. No technically feasible penetration route existed that wouldn't trigger immediate defensive response. Mission appeared infeasible through conventional special operations approach. That assessment led to unconventional solution. If technical intelligence couldn't provide access, perhaps human intelligence could. Weak, -6. Intelligence analysts identified facility personnel who might be vulnerable to recruitment. Not senior commanders with access to strategic information, but support personnel with access to facility logistics and security procedures. American intelligence approached multiple targets, attempting recruitment that would provide operational access. Technical collection couldn't deliver. Most recruitment attempts failed, but one succeeded. Facility logistics officer with access to supply delivery procedures and security protocols. That officer was motivated by combination of financial inducement and personal grievances against regime. Intelligence officers spent weeks developing relationship and validating information. Officer provided ensuring this wasn't enemy counterintelligence operation. Eventually, intelligence assessed with high confidence that source was genuine and information was accurate. Source provided something invaluable: complete understanding of supply delivery procedures, including timing, routes, and security checks that would enable American operators to infiltrate facility, disguised as legitimate supply convoy. Week -2. Mission planning incorporated human intelligence about supply procedures, developing infiltration plan that technical intelligence alone couldn't have enabled. Strike force would infiltrate using captured enemy vehicles disguised as scheduled supply delivery. Source provided security codes, radio frequencies, and guard procedures that would allow convoy to pass checkpoints without triggering alarms. Once inside facility perimeter, operators would abandon vehicles and conduct raid before enemy could organize effective response. Extraction would occur through helicopter assault after objectives were destroyed. Plan was audacious, requiring everything to proceed perfectly through multiple phases where single error would result in strike force being trapped inside heavily defended facility, surrounded by thousands of enemy troops. Some planners questioned whether human intelligence about supply procedures could be trusted with 300 operators' lives. Mission commander assessed risk as acceptable because alternative approaches had even lower probability of success. Hour 0. Strike force inserted into enemy territory via helicopter landing zone, 50 kilometers from target facility. Operators immediately moved to pre-positioned, captured enemy vehicles and equipment, including military trucks, uniforms, and documentation that intelligence source had described as necessary for successful infiltration. Force divided into assault element that would penetrate facility and security element that would establish perimeter. Defense, preventing enemy reinforcement during raid. Assault element consisting of 180 operators, loaded into captured vehicles configured as supply convoy. Security element of 120 operators, moved to positions where they could interdict enemy reaction forces attempting to reinforce facility during assault. Coordination between elements required precise timing, ensuring assault element would have maximum time inside facility before enemy response overwhelmed security element's ability to prevent reinforcement. Hour 2. Supply convoy approached facility, outer perimeter. This was moment of maximum risk where human intelligence would either prove accurate, enabling penetration, or prove flawed, resulting in immediate engagement by alert defensive force. Lead vehicle transmitted radio code source had provided. Guards responded with authentication and challenge exactly as source had described. Convoy driver provided correct response. Guards waved convoy through outer check. Convoy proceeded toward inner security perimeter, passing multiple checkpoints where source's information about procedures and codes enabled passing without triggering suspicion. Each successful checkpoint increased confidence in human intelligence accuracy, but also deepened penetration into facility, making extraction more difficult if operation was compromised. Inner perimeter checkpoint was most stringent, requiring documentation and physical inspection of cargo. Intelligence source had provided forged documents and detailed description of inspection procedures. Guards conducted inspection exactly as source described, finding cargo that matched documentation. Convoy was cleared to proceed to facility center, where supply delivery occurred. Hour 3. Convoy reached facility headquarters compound. Operators dismounted from vehicles under guise of conducting delivery. Within seconds, assault began. Demolition teams placed charges on headquarters building and communications facilities. Assault teams breached into headquarters, engaging enemy personnel and destroying command capabilities. Enemy guards responded but were overwhelmed by coordinated assault from multiple directions simultaneously. Facilities' defenses were designed to repel external attack, not counter-penetration, that had already bypassed perimeter security through successful infiltration. Within minutes, headquarters building was secured, command staff were casualties, and demolitions were detonating, destroying communications and command infrastructure. Mission objectives were being accomplished faster than planning timeline predicted because enemy response was delayed by confusion about how American force had penetrated their security. Hour 4. Enemy quick reaction forces were mobilizing, attempting to seal facility and trap American operators. That response had been anticipated in mission planning. Security element engaged enemy reinforcements, preventing them from reaching facility, while assault element completed objective destruction. Fighting intensity increased as enemy recognized magnitude of penetration and attempted to contain American forces. But security elements' positions had been carefully selected, enabling them to delay superior enemy forces through defensive advantages and superior training. Assault element continued systematic destruction of every command capability within headquarters compound, ensuring mission would achieve comprehensive effects, even if extraction became difficult. Hour 5. Extraction phase began. Assault element withdrew from headquarters compound toward designated helicopter landing zones. Enemy forces were now fully mobilized, attempting to prevent American extraction. Attack helicopters provided covering fire, suppressing enemy positions, while transport helicopters landed, extracting assault element under fire. Security element continued fighting, delaying enemy forces until final helicopters arrived for their extraction. This was most dangerous phase, where operator casualties typically occur during combat extraction under pressure. Helicopter pilots executed aggressive flying, maintaining schedule despite enemy fire. Final operators boarded aircraft with enemy forces, closing on landing zones. Helicopters departed with enemy attempting pursuit that American air superiority prevented from becoming effective. Hour 6. All operators successfully extracted with minimal casualties. Enemy military headquarters was destroyed, with command staff eliminated, and communications infrastructure rendered inoperable. Strategic assessment concluded raid achieved effects equivalent to sustained conventional operation at fraction of time, cost, and risk. Enemy forces required weeks to reconstitute command capability, during which their operational effectiveness was severely degraded. Mission was considered extraordinary success, validating joint special operations concept and proving that elite forces with proper intelligence can achieve strategic effects through precision raids that conventional doctrine says require division-level commitment. Now for revelation that reframes entire operation. Remember, human intelligence source who provided infiltration access. That source wasn't just logistics officer providing information. Source was American intelligence operative who'd been infiltrated into enemy military years earlier, specifically to be positioned for missions exactly like this. Source wasn't recruited during mission planning. Source was long-term penetration. Agent American intelligence had developed over years, waiting for high-value targeting opportunity. When headquarters became priority target, intelligence activated Source, providing access that years of patient intelligence work had prepared. Enemy believed Source was loyal officer. Source was actually American agent whose placement years earlier enabled mission success through providing access technical intelligence couldn't deliver. That long-term human intelligence investment paid decisive dividend, enabling special operations raid that otherwise would have been impossible. Think about implications for special operations and intelligence integration. Mission succeeded not through superior tactical execution, though that was exemplary, but through intelligence penetration that took years to develop, creating access when needed. American intelligence services conduct such long-term operations, positioning sources for future requirements that can't be predicted in advance. When targeting opportunity emerges, Previously positioned sources can enable operations that would otherwise be infeasible. That demonstrates extraordinary patience and strategic vision conducting intelligence operations that might not produce value for years but become decisive when circumstances create targeting requirements that only human intelligence access can satisfy. Enemy defended headquarters adequately against conventional threats but couldn't defend against threat that had been positioned inside their organization years before. Targeting requirement was even identified. For enemy forces, this operation revealed vulnerability beyond tactical defeat. Their security had been penetrated by source positioned years earlier, specifically to enable operations like this raid. That suggests American intelligence has similar sources positioned throughout enemy military and government, waiting to be activated when required. Every enemy operation now faces uncertainty whether American intelligence has penetration, enabling targeting or compromise. That psychological effect exceeds physical damage from raid because it creates pervasive uncertainty, undermining confidence in operational security across entire enemy organization. Rebuilding trust after such comprehensive penetration is extraordinarily difficult, requiring counterintelligence operations that disrupt normal operations and degrade combat effectiveness, even when specific threats haven't been identified. For American military, this operation validated investments in long-term human intelligence operations that critics question as expensive and uncertain. Source, positioned years earlier, enabled mission that otherwise would have been impossible, proving that patient intelligence work creates options when needed. Future operations will increasingly rely on such long-term penetrations, providing access that technical intelligence cannot deliver. But success also creates vulnerability. Enemy now knows American intelligence conducts such operations and will improve counterintelligence, making future penetrations more difficult. American advantage, demonstrated here, required years of patient work and can be maintained only through continuous intelligence operations, positioning sources for future requirements against opponents conducting improved counterintelligence. The broader lesson applies across military operations. Strategic effects can be achieved through precision operations when intelligence provides access, enabling small elite forces to accomplish what conventional forces require division-level operations to achieve. 300 operators destroyed enemy headquarters through raid enabled by intelligence source positioned years earlier, specifically to provide access when needed. That demonstrates integration of intelligence and operations, where long-term intelligence work creates tactical opportunities that operational capabilities alone cannot achieve. Future warfare will increasingly involve such integration, where intelligence organizations position capabilities years in advance, enabling operational effects when strategic requirements emerge. Which factor dominated this operation? A. Superior American Special Operations tactical capabilities and training. B. Poor enemy security and defensive preparations. C. Long-term human intelligence penetration that positioned source years earlier, specifically to provide infiltration access when targeting requirement emerged. The answer is C. Tactical capabilities were necessary. Enemy security was adequate against conventional threats, but decisive factor was intelligence source positioned through years of patient intelligence work providing access technical collection couldn't deliver and enemy security couldn't prevent because source had been established as trusted insider before mission requirement existed. 300 operators succeeded against defended headquarters because human intelligence had created access that made mission feasible when without that access operation would have been impossible, regardless of tactical excellence. Can adversaries defend against such long-term intelligence penetrations? Not easily. American intelligence operates globally, positioning sources for requirements that don't yet exist. Identifying and removing such sources requires counterintelligence capabilities most nations lack, especially when sources are positioned years before. Activation creates indicators that counterintelligence might detect. Enemy in this operation had adequate technical security, but couldn't defend against human penetration that occurred years earlier. Only defense is comprehensive counterintelligence operations, screening all personnel and monitoring for compromise indicators. Measures that degrade operational effectiveness, and often fail to detect sophisticated penetrations until after they've been exploited. American intelligence advantage through long-term source positioning persists because few opponents can match operational patience and resources required for such programs. What does this mean for future special operations? Elite forces can achieve strategic effects through precision raids when intelligence provides access enabling penetration that tactics alone cannot accomplish. This mission demonstrates template where long-term intelligence work creates operational opportunities that emerge when strategic requirements develop. Future special operations doctrine will increasingly emphasize intelligence operations integration, where intelligence organizations position capabilities in advance, and operational forces maintain readiness to exploit access when provided. Success requires patience, accepting that intelligence investments might not produce value for years but become decisive when circumstances require capabilities that only long-term intelligence positioning can enable. This operation proved that strategic targets defended by conventional security can be vulnerable to special operations raids when long-term intelligence penetration provides access that makes precision strikes feasible. 300 elite operators destroyed enemy military headquarters in 6 hours through raid, enabled by source positioned years earlier, specifically to enable such missions. Comprehensive effects that conventional warfare would require division-level operations over weeks were achieved through single-night operation because intelligence operations integration created capability that neither intelligence nor operations alone could provide. Success validates American approach to special operations, emphasizing intelligence penetration, enabling tactical operations that achieve strategic effects through precision rather than mass. Subscribe to the Navy Chronicle, where special warfare history meets operational analysis, where 300 elite operators prove that precision raids enabled by long-term intelligence penetration achieve strategic effects conventional operations require massive forces to accomplish, where raid-destroying enemy headquarters demonstrates value of patient intelligence work positioning sources years before requirements emerge, where mission success shows that future special operations require intelligence operations integration, where human intelligence provides access enabling tactical excellence to achieve strategic effects that change warfare calculations about what small elite forces can accomplish when intelligence creates opportunities that capabilities alone cannot generate.